Hey guys, it's Elle. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a video chatting about book series that you can binge and just fly through that are just so good and so amazing. I have so many great books on this list. So let's get started with the first series I'm going to talk about is the Boys of Tommen series. I have been completely obsessed with this series ever since I started with Binding 13. So the cool thing about the series is that usually there's 2 books for each couple. So the first 2 are Binding 13 and Keeping 13, and then the next 2 are Saving 6 and Redeeming 6. So Binding 13, we follow Joni and Shannon in their story. This is set in Ireland. Yes, Ireland during like the early 2000s. So we kind of see like the backstory of their romance. And so Johnny and Shannon is moving to this new school, and she kind of meets Johnny because he hits her in the head accidentally with a rugby ball. And she's just like terrified because she was really bullied at her past school, and she just has a really hard home life. And so they kind of strike up a little bit of a friendship, and he kind of looks out for her, and feelings are starting to develop between them, but she can't let feelings develop just because of her family life. Like, her dad is very, very abusive to her and her siblings and her mom, and they're all just like barely hanging on, and it is just so devastating to read. It's very emotional, but Johnny becomes kind of her solace in all of that, and it's just so beautiful and so heartbreaking. And then in Saving 6 and Redeeming 6, we follow Joey, who is Shannon's older brother that's kind of been looking out for them their whole life. He's really the father figure for all of their siblings. We have Shannon. We have Shannon and then 4 other boys, not including Joey. Well, no, that's a lie. It's Joey, Tag, Ollie, and Sean. But anyways, Joey just really struggles because he knows that his dad is such a bad guy, and like his mom just won't leave him and won't like help their family. And he just does everything he can to protect his family as much as he can. And he's literally only like 15 or 16 in this book. And then we go to Redeeming 6, which he is like almost 17, 18. And it's just so heartbreaking. And this one deals heavily with his drug and substance abuse just to cope with what he is going through at home. And it's just so heartbreaking. And Aoife is kind of like his saving grace. And he really pushes her away at first. Like, they don't start dating until years later because they're just friends, and he is actually working for her father and he doesn't want to cross that line, but they both feel so much for each other and just have such a unique friendship and relationship, and it's so good once they finally become a couple. And I love this one. They are just perfection. It's so good. If you want this just like an addicting series to read, definitely pick up the Boys of Tommen series. I would recommend reading it on your Kindle or physically. I've heard the audiobooks are good. They're just all in Irish, so it's like hard to hear sometimes, I've heard. But I've also heard people really enjoy them, so take that as you will. But I love the Boys of Tommen series so much. It has a special place in my heart. The next series I have is the Love Light Farm series. This is not the first book. The first book is Love Light Farms, I think, yes. And this series is so much fun. It is set in this really cute small town, and the first book is a fake dating romance with the heroine's best friend. This one is a friends with benefits situation where they're kind of acquaintances. They have a one-night stand and they start catching feelings and literally cannot stop hanging out with each other because they become so obsessed. It's so good. And I just love like the small town aspect where the small town is very meddling in just the cutest way. Like the second book, the heroine, they know that the hero and heroine kind of had like a thing, but they're not a thing anymore. And she is trying to find somewhere to stay in the small town. And they literally lie to her and saying that nobody has anywhere for her to stay besides Beckett, the hero, so that she would be forced to confront her feelings for him. Like, it's so good. It's so good. This series is fantastic. I love it so much. they're just all so good, like so good. I listen to them on audio and they're just amazing audiobooks. Then I have the Legacy series by Melissa Rorick. I just started this series, but I can already tell like these books are going to be amazing. This is such an addicting fantasy romance series. So this is in an urban fantasy world, and it's in a world where there are fae and these things called legacies, and the fae are used as kind of like bonded mates, kind of, where they will kind of bond themselves to these legacies, and the legacies use the fae to draw their power from them. So the heroine, she's a fae, and she is put into the selection process, but she doesn't think she's going to be selected. And she kind of meets the hero in this alcove in a random hallway, and they kind of like form a connection. Like he is just so intrigued by her, and she's intrigued by him. And she realizes that when she goes into the selection ceremony that he is like this really like wealthy son of an heir, like king, and he ends up selecting her in the process, and she is pissed because she had no idea that he was going to select her, because they can kind of like figure it out a little bit, and she's so mad because he's basically ruined her life, because the fae that are selected, they don't have a life anymore. They become like, they make their life their legacies, like bond that they have with them. And so she is just so mad and is really trying to reject the fated mate bond, and it is so good. And the hero is so obsessed with the heroine, and she kind of does some dumb things, like tries to run away and like stuff like that, and he finds her, and it's so good. He also has shadow play in some spicy scenes, but this is such a slow burn, angsty romance. Like we only have literally one spicy scene in this whole book because of how slow burn it is, and you really have to wait for that romance and deserve it at the end, and it is so good. I love this fantasy world. It is an urban fantasy world as well, so there's cars and bones, and I just loved all of like the secrets revealed. I love the romance. I'm obsessed with it. And I've heard that the next books are so good. Like I read this in literally a day and a half, and it's a humongous book. So I am so excited to continue on with this series. And I feel like if you love a little bit lighter, dark fantasy romances, you would love this. Then I have the Bergman Brothers series by Chloe Leese. I love this series so much. Each of the books follows a different family member in the Bergman family. This one is probably my favorite. I loved it so much. The heroine, she is like part of the marketing team for this hockey team in, I don't know where it is, in California, I think. And she just always butts heads with the hero. It's a reverse Grumpy Sunshine romance. He's a hockey player on the team, and they kind of have to start hanging out more and more for her job, and he just keeps pushing her buttons, and it kind of like forms into a romance, and I just love this one so much. I love the reverse grumpy aspect of it. The heroine also has rheumatoid arthritis, so she uses a cane. I think you can see it. Yes, you can see it in the cover, and it's just so good. I love the series so much because a lot of the books have like chronic illness rep, or like disability awareness. Like I know I think one of the heroines has autism, and it's just a really great series. And you just have like that amazing found family aspect. It's just so good. I love this series so much. I binge read the whole series on audio a couple of years ago, and it is just so good. And I love the family shenanigans that happen in this series. It's just hilarious. Then I have the Gold Rush Ranch series. I really enjoyed this series. It is the first series that Elsie Silver ever wrote. And it also just all became available on audio, and I've been binge reading the series on Audible. My favorite two are A Photo Finish, which is a hate to love romance. It's kind of epistolary, where the heroine had been writing the hero for a couple of years, and they kind of were forming a relationship there. And then in real life, she absolutely detests him. I can't remember if he is like if he owns the ranch, but she is a jockey, and they end up having to work together. I think actually no, she ends up having to stay with him on the ranch, like at his house, and he just has pushed her away because he feels so much for her, and it is so good. I love this one. And then The Front Runner is my other favorite. This one, the heroine is an equine veterinarian, and the hero is like a billionaire. He's kind of a bad boy. He's deemed as like this ruthless guy, and they end up having to team up together working on this horse, and they form a relationship and a romance, and this one is so good. I love the audiobook for this one. It's Hate to Love, and I think it's actually also fake dating, it says. I don't remember that, but that's what it says on the back. But I love these two. This series is really fantastic. I've given all of the books 4 or 5 stars. The next series I have that I want to chat about is the Lost and Found series by Catherine Cowles. This series is so fantastic. The first book is Whispers of You. This one is a second chance romance, hate to love, romantic suspense. And then my other two favorites are Echoes of You. This one is a friends to lovers, second chance romance kind of, romantic suspense. And then Ashes of You, which is a single dad nanny romance, forbidden, taboo, age gap. So much fun. Love all of these. So this series revolves around a family in this small town, and a lot of the family members actually do search and rescue, which is pretty cool, which I'd never read about. So I really enjoyed it, and it's all romantic suspense. So each book we follow a different couple, and something that happens with them, whether that could be they had like an abusive ex in the past, or the last book, the heroine was kidnapped and dealing with the effects of that. And I just love this whole series so much. I know her Sparrow Falls series is blowing up right now because they're all getting trad published, but this series is just as good, if not better. And I just love it so much. I especially love Echoes of You. Like, I love the hero Nash. He is one of my favorite heroes. He's so cute. And just like he has that "who did this to you" line in this, and it is so good. They're all really great romances, and I've enjoyed every single book in the series, and you should definitely check it out. The last series I want to chat about is the Magnolia Falls series by Laura Pavlov. This series is fantastic. I really, really enjoy it. The first book is my favorite. This is a hate to love MMA fighter romance. Rivals. He absolutely hates her family. She doesn't really know why. She ends up moving into the building next door to open up a bakery, and he has his gym next to her, and just to test her. But he kind of starts hanging out with her because she gets in situations where she needs help, and he kind of opens up to her and realizes she's not like her family, and it's so good. I love the series. They have the best found family aspects in them, and just the group chats are so good. They're hilarious because they're all family in some way, whether that's by blood or found family vibes, and it's so good. I just love the series. She has so many good series. She has a new series, I think it's the Rosewood River series, and it's really good so far. I like it. I read the first book, gave it 4 stars, but she just writes really good small town found families, and they're just so good. So love, love, love the Magnolia Falls series. It's amazing. All right, well, that is the last book I wanted to chat in this video, or series, I mean. And this was so much fun. I love binge reading series because it's so addicting. And I wanted to recommend some books series that were small town romances where you could just read one book if you wanted. You didn't have to read it in order necessarily. Now for the Boys of Tommen series, you have to read that in order because you find out stuff that happens. So you kind of need to know, or you'll get spoiled for other couples. But I love this video so much. It was so much fun. And I was inspired to make this by Jess from Peace Love Books. She recently did one, and I was like, oh, I haven't done this video in a while. So I'll link her video down below. But yeah, I want to thank you so much for watching, and leave me the emoji of maybe the heart with the sparkles on it. I really like that one. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.